Hello everyone, just Goran here, and welcome to another real-life zoo tour. And today we will be visiting Aquazoo Leerdam, a small but incredibly lovely aquarium in the city of Leerdam. I went here last summer together with Lukoshi as we were visiting a few small quirky zoos that Lukoshi is always a big fan of, and I took him here. He'd never heard of it, and I'd only seen the outside of this zoo, which looked like it was just an office building with somehow an aquarium inside of it. I mean, just look at what we were discussing as we were walking up to it. You'll see.
Okay.
I think it would have been better if we parked here. It would have been better.
Now the reveal is better now.
The reveal is better now.
Oh god.
Welcome to Aquazoo.
Oh, I'm going to love this. Yeah. Great.
So we arrived about 15 minutes before the zoo actually opened. And in that time, we were kind of discussing, like, okay, what are we going to find in this building? How bad is it going to be? Until we hit this thought, what if it's actually amazing? And I will tell you, that's actually what happened, believe it or not. We went inside here. Actually, one of the employees, or volunteers, I should say, came up, they let us in, and we went inside, and it's just this lovely, cozy place. The walls are all painted with like fish and sea turtles for some reason, even though they don't have those. And we come downstairs, and it's just all these lovely little aquariums. Like, it's not big, it's not extravagant, but it's just really, really cute. I can only describe it that way. Every aquarium has its own little flair and feel, and craziest of all, there are these screens, these tablets next to every tank where you can select the tank number, and you can see every fish in the tank. You can read about them. It's kept up to date by the employees or the volunteers, and it's just so incredible. It's literally the best aquarium experience I've had in any Dutch aquarium so far, because I always find the education part of aquariums to be very lacking. It's just a little sign that has some of the fish that you might find in the aquarium in there, but no, this zoo has just everything, and it's interactive. You can click it, you can view everything. There's even like little bits of information about the mechanics behind the aquarium, like the filtration systems. It really just engaged me so much to learn, and I was constantly like looking at what species were in the aquarium and trying to find them. When I saw a cool fish in an aquarium, I immediately ran to the little tablet screen to actually see what it was. I've never felt so motivated to learn in a zoo, and especially in an aquarium. Like, it was just so freaking cool. And yeah, what you might also be able to see is that there's also these little QR codes next to the screens that you would be able to scan with your phone to get pretty much the same information on your phone. And I've actually put the link to the website that QR code links to in the description, so if you want, you can tag along with your phone, or if you have a second monitor, you can turn on that website and just read along. This is like, we're looking at tank number 1 right now, so that one's absolutely filled with all sorts of species of fish. I think the website is in Dutch, but you can use like Google Translate functionalities to just translate it as you're on the website, because yeah, it is just so I cannot stop talking about how excited I am about what is essentially just an animal list, like a species list, but done just so well. So freaking well. We also got to see some backstage peeks here, but it's not important because they actually let us into the backstage and showed us around, which was so cool. We'll get to that when we get to it. Right now we're looking at the Moray tank, and yeah, just there's so much cool stuff here. Like, as I said, just every tank, like, there is a little bit of repetition here and there, but overall like the different like reef tanks, and you've got like an Amazon tank, and you've got like the Archer fish tank, which has like the mangrove things. There's so many like distinct little things that it doesn't feel like you're looking at the same tank over and over again. Like, it's just, you can tell that a lot of care and effort was put into these tanks. And I should mention, this entire place is completely run by volunteers. Like, it's just a fish enthusiast group that kind of put their heads together and founded this zoo, which is just incredible to me. It's just so freaking cool, and that's also just reflected in the entire area. Like, you can just tell that this is just a group of people that is incredibly passionate, and they put their all into making and maintaining all of these tanks, and it's really cool. One of the main employees or volunteers I've been told is here pretty much just every day taking care of the fish, and he like barely ever takes a day off. He's just always here to feed and care for the fish, and that's just so freaking cool. I highly commend these people for what they've achieved here. And that's what they said as well, the women that let us in. Oh, here we have some frogs, pretty much the only like non-aquatic exhibit in here. But yeah, the lady that let us in, who's also a volunteer here, said that that's one of the main reasons why you probably see stuff like the education. Oh yeah, we have some gecko-like things as well. The stuff like the education, just the people here are just really passionate about it, and that's why they're more able to do stuff like that. Not that a regular zoo isn't passionate or stuff like that, but I guess for a regular zoo it's more like, okay, what's the cost of these tablets versus the benefit of it, and does the benefit outweigh like the negative of the cost? Whereas for these people it's just like, no, we are very passionate about this and we just want people to learn about this. And because it's volunteer run, as long as you have enough passion, it will probably happen. And if the volunteers weren't passionate enough to make all of these screens and all of these explanations about the fish, then yeah, it probably would not have happened. But I'm just so glad it did. Yeah, here we have a bunch of smaller tanks. You can see all the numbers are on there if you're reading along on the website. Yeah, I have kept that tab. Like, I scanned the QR code when I was there, like half a year ago at this point. I've kept that tab open at the front of the tabs in my phone ever since, because I didn't want to lose it. And I'm really glad that I didn't, because I'm so glad that I'll be able to share it with all of you guys. I just look at this one, just the difference in color and stuff. So freaking cool. Like, I know I'm glossing over this because I feel like most people won't be interested in me like over explaining every little tank here, so we are kind of taking a brief walk through it. But man, this is so cool. This tank has one of the coolest things, not just this awesome little discus fish. I think that's what it is. But yeah, below here we actually have a look into the filtration system of the tank, which is always really cool to see. Once we get to do a zoo tour of Rotterdam Zoo, I also have some really cool backstage stuff to show you guys, including the filters. But we'll get to that. So yeah, just I don't know what else to fawn over. Like, it's just also amazing. Just here is a much more tropical tank. This one has a lot of current, which the fish seem to be enjoying, I guess, like swimming into the current. It's not for the entire tank, so they do have, it's not like they will be blown against the wall or anything. This tank over here is just super cool. These are like silver leaf fish, at least that was like the Dutch name. Like that was one case where I saw that fish and I just immediately ran to the table like, what is this? I need to know. And then on top of the land there's these little fish as well that are just kind of sitting up there, that don't need to be in the water all the time, which is super cool. But yeah, oh, just look at these. There's just so many cool fish, cool tanks. And I came here in the height of like Key Park Zoo when I was still working on the aquarium, which I have been slowly getting back into working on again. So I'm hoping making this video will also get me kind of going. Oh, look, seahorses! Yay! I'm hoping that making this video will kind of get me excited to jump back into the aquarium of Key Park. I do still also want to finish the Africa area for that. But yeah, just it was so awesome to get inspired by something this small, and that's what I've been really enjoying about going to all sorts of like different zoos all across the Netherlands, big and small, is like I knew at some point I would stumble upon a hidden gem like this one that not a lot of people know of, that is really small, really tiny, but it's just so lovely to go to. And yeah, oh yeah, we've got some like lobster molts mounted on the wall there. Oh, look at these. They look like little gems just swimming around. Fish are cool, man. Like, I don't think I'll ever completely get into fish like some people do, where they like recognize every species, but I've definitely grown to love them a lot more and just appreciate them, because they are super cool, and there's so many just beautiful species. Like those are like rainbow fish, if the thing is to be believed. But yeah, I've been phoning over this place for like 10 minutes. Let's talk a little bit more about the design of it, I guess. There isn't that much to say about it, I will say. Of course, they were very limited in terms of what they could do, like space-wise. So it's basically just one long, like, winding hallway with a dead end, and then you turn around and walk back, and you can, like, take a look at everything you may have missed, I guess. Yeah, that's definitely just a limitation of like, the space that they have. Over here we do have one kind of aquarium staple, which is like a little aquarium with the shark egg in it, a single one right now. Over here we have like guppies. But yeah, in terms of layout, yeah, just one long like winding corridor. Throughout the corridor you will find like little doors that will go into the backstage, which we'll see more of later. The backstage actually, yeah, I'll talk about that when I get to the backstage part, which is actually coming up pretty short, because we are getting already to the end of the long hallway. Over here we have some, corals and some nice anemone fish. Here a little kind of blowfish kind of thing. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to check the number. What's the number of this tank? I can't actually see. Oh no. It's 16. That means that it is a Mabu pufferfish, according to the website. So, those following along at home, then you'll be able to see that. I don't know. Yeah, we're getting to the end of the hallway here, so let's jump a little bit into the backstage here. We went back to the entrance to kind of talk with the volunteer there. Talk about like how much we love zoos and how much we love to see backstages, and luckily she shared that passion with us, so we were able to look in these backstages. And not just the one, she showed us all of them. So here we are back at the entrance, and here you can really see like just how narrow and kind of messy these backstage are. Like I'll try to reiterate most of what the volunteer was telling us, but this place is what they would consider tidy. So there's cables everywhere, like tubes and filters and things just all over the place. But yeah, they really just kind of maximized visitor space, and all of this backstage stuff is just the bare minimum for them to be able to get to all of the tanks, like mechanics. And what we just saw over there was actually a quarantine tank. So that is a freshwater quarantine tank, because of course you need to be able to quarantine your fish if they're sick, or if you're getting new fish you want to quarantine them first before adding them to an established tank. So that's why they have this little freshwater quarantine that you can see here, and later we'll also see a saltwater one. But yeah, just pipes, things. This is one of the narrowest spaces over here. Yeah, just the tanks are almost up against the wall. You can just barely get in here. And this is where I asked, like, okay, but how do you clean these tanks then? Because you cannot get in there at all. But what I didn't realize is actually just above the tank, like the walls on the visitor side, they actually just open up. They can fold them up, and that's how they can get to the tank normally. It's just these backstage areas are really mostly just to get to like the filters and that sort of stuff. So here, all the way at the back of the kind of hallway thing, we have the salt water, the quarantine tank, and there's also these two huge vats of water, which are not quarantines or anything, or not filters. They're just backup water, basically. Like when they need clean tanks, when they need to like refresh water, this water over here has already been like acclimated and like made ready to be put in an aquarium. Like the salt's been added, stuff like that. So it's just like, yeah, backup water. Like if you need to refill some water, you've got it available over here. So that's what that is for. And I think this is the last backstage room. There's just a bunch of smaller tanks, things. We can see into some of the terrariums from here. Yeah, it was just so nice that we were allowed to see this. And I want to give a huge thanks to the lady that was there that day, and just to the aquarium itself, because this is absolutely awesome. So cool to see all of this stuff. So yeah, that is pretty much it, you guys, for Aquazoo Leerdam. I highly recommend, if you're ever in the area and you have an hour to kill, come by here. It is only a couple of bucks. It is absolutely worth it. And of course, we got to end it over here at the Moray tank, where at the end of the day, we were blessed with the leopard Moray going around for a swim. Such a freaking cool animal. Oh my god. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next zoo tour. We'll do like 1 or 2 more small zoos before we tackle another big one. Probably Rotterdam, because I feel like people are very excited about that one. So yeah, I'll see you in the next zoo tour. I'll have a guest on again next time, probably. But I felt for this one I just wanted to share my experiences uninterrupted. So hope you guys still enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!